what do you think about what's going on with America last couple years here politically? Where we're at, you're in an industry that's you guys. I have friends in that world, and we talk, but it's walking on eggshells a little bit in the business you're in. How has that affected your business the last few years?
How has it affected my business? Well, I personally find all politicians to be liars, and so there's no way for me to get behind a political party simply because I just don't trust any of them. In my business, I do know that 10-ish years ago, there was a group called the Friends of Abe, Abraham Lincoln being the first Republican president. And it was a very big group, and they would publish their board and all the members, and it was a very open group. Yep. And as soon as Trump came into office, the other side got so crazy that this group was no longer allowed to exist. So it disbanded, and that, to me, that makes me sad, the intolerance for another perspective, because I think that for the most part, individuals, not politicians, but individuals have these ideas of, I perceive a problem. And for the most part, everybody can agree that whatever, X is a problem. So then it's just about finding solutions. And I might have a different idea about a solution than you have, but I don't think that we should be waging war with each other over our difference of solving the same problem, and that intolerance is very disappointing.
I used to go to meetings with John Voight in L.A. and with a man named Fred, and then a couple other guys, owners of Public Storage, and would go to the house in Malibu, and they would have the most interesting conversations. But the way they would do it, it wasn't like, we're Republican, and they would bring the campaign manager of Bill Clinton, and they would bring the campaign manager of Bush. 2-hour conversations, 40 of us in the room. And let me tell you, unfreaking believably entertaining.
Yeah.
And like you're learning, right? So when the camera was off, they got along. It's almost like, hey, we're just the two different teams. So let's just figure out, what my motives are, and I got to give up some stuff to get with you. But going through John and, some of the other guys, I mean, obviously we know who in Hollywood is what side and what not side, but some of them got ousted, some of them didn't. Some of them were bulletproof. You couldn't do shit to Clint Eastwood. It's like, dude,
no, you can't.
Nothing.
And you can't do shit to
Saint
Clint
status
Eastwood.
for him,
yeah, for sure. There are a couple of them. Gary Sinise, I think he can probably be aligned with whatever he wants, and he's fine. But I think for the rank and file, there became a thing where it's like, well, we're just not going to say anything. We're not going to openly support anything.
That sucks, though,
I agree.
Bro. Yeah,
I agree.
That sucks. And is there anybody that's kind of like, because I saw, did you see the article with Mark Wahlberg, what he announced yesterday? If you want to pull up Mark Wahlberg,
the movie he did?
He did The Father Stew with Mel Gibson. And Mel Gibson, one of the greatest actors of all time. But he came out and he said something yesterday about the fact that he's inspired. Yeah. He said Mark Wahlberg explains how Mel Gibson inspired him to spend millions and millions of his own money on Father Stew. And not only that, this story goes further. He says, I feel at this phase of my life, I'm getting a calling. Is this yesterday's article or 2 days ago?
This is 2 days ago.
Oh, it's yesterday. The article I read was yesterday. It's very recent. Go back a little bit. Anyway, so he himself, you see him as a pretty reasonable guy, reveals his
by the way, Mark Wahlberg, you can't
click on that one. Not your typical.
You can't really see it. It's not so overt. But that dude has evolved. That dude, when I was young, I've known Mark for a long time. I did a movie with him.
Was he in American History X or no?
No, okay. But I did a movie with him called Deepwater Horizon. But I've known him for a long time. When we were kids, like children, teenagers, he was a bit of a mess. He wasn't maybe as much of a mess or as overt of a mess as I was, and I don't think he had a real drug problem, or did drugs at all. I don't know about that. But he now is a father. He's married. He's very serious about his faith. Like, he has turned his life around, really,
in a big way.
Big way.
And he, the movie he did, was it Brothers? What was the name of the movie where the four brothers, it's him.
Yeah,
it's
Four
Andre
Brothers.
Is it Four Brothers? The movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So
Tyrese. I want to say.
I just feel like that's him. The movie he played the story of not Mickey Ward. Is it Mickey Ward? Where the brother is it the fighter? It's called The Fighter. Yeah.
The Fighter.
You just look at him. You're like, I don't think you're acting, bro. I just believe you. You know, I just think you're being you. Like Denzel's not acting to me. Denzel is just himself, you know, and he's got one role that he crushes it in, right?
Yeah.
You don't see him being able to do, you know, but he sticks to this one role that he crushes because I don't think he's acting. But to see a guy like him, he just showed me an article here from People magazine where he says, you know, he's feeling like there's a calling.
Tyler's pulling it up. It's on Slack.
This is God choosing me was one of the headlines.
Yeah, God choosing me.
Tyler, it's on Slack.
I don't see it on Slack.
Check yesterday.
Anyway, so you're seeing some of that taking place because I believe the power of right there. So Mark Wahlberg says he spent millions on faith-based movies. This is God choosing me to make it. Okay, go up a little bit to see what else he says. They're making it a little bit bigger. 50-year-old story, my father, Stu, Mel Gibson, director, some millions. Let's just say I put millions and millions of dollars into the film and then incurring other costs because we went over schedule and production and there were clearances for the music. Said Wahlberg, adding that the few friends who believed in the project also invested in the Wahlberg said he prayed every day about getting this film made. I cannot take credit for the movie's success because this is God choosing me to make this film. He knows finally I get to utilize all the talents and gifts that have been bestowed upon me for his greater good and serve my part in his big picture. So you're seeing some of that. This is, I believe, you know, one time, one of my mentors, Dudley, he gives a speech. He says there's 7 mountains to climb. You know, military, you know, you got business, you got church, you got all these politics. And then he says entertainment. He says the toughest one to climb to the top is entertainment. But entertainment is the one that you can really have some mass influence, right? Whoever controls Hollywood and movies controls the masses. I mean, that's just what there is to it. If I want to manipulate a mindset into anybody, I'll just make a movie out of it and put the right actor, spend $100 million. I can get you to think, well, maybe that's not that bad of an idea, right? So, but I don't think we have enough competition on both sides. Like, I think Vince Vaughn was it, where he went and he endorsed, was it Ron Paul at a libertarian event? I don't know if you remember that.
I don't know, but I do know that whatever
Yeah.
he did politically probably had some effect on him.
Yeah.
So, you think Hollywood kind of excommunicated him because he?
I don't know. I don't know
politically?
about excommunicated. He's still around. He's still doing movies. But Vince Vaughn was a massive movie star,
Dude,
and
mega.
he is not a massive movie
Not
star.
today,
And I
no.
don't think he had
What
a
happened
huge
there?
string of failures.
No, what failure? I mean, dude, the guy has got, everybody gets their set of failures. Like you talked about earlier, hey, if our show goes, we literally disappear. But what does it take in that space to get to a point of being untouchable? Is it your own money? Because Clint is using his own money at this point. Of course, he's got some investors that come in as well, but it's majority of it is his own money.
Also, even think about this: Woody Allen. Woody Allen still makes a movie every year or every other year or something like that, and he is basically blacked out. Like you don't hear about the movies, you don't see the movies. They're all just going to Europe or something like that. But he still manages to get them made. It's all funded out of another country or private investors or something like that. Hollywood is not investing in Woody Allen.
I don't know if there's anybody that's untouchable in Hollywood. No matter, I mean, look at Will Smith. I mean, he would have been in my top
Weinstein.
five. Harvey Weinstein was, I mean, but he's not. He doesn't have the name recognition that a Will Smith does, or even a Mel Gibson did in the early 2000s.
But there's a difference.
Harvey Weinstein was a gangster. He was he was politically connected. Harvey Weinstein was
behind the
untouchable.
scenes.
Yeah,
untouchable. But to the masses, there's like, who's this?
FYI,
dude?
though, there is an example there that's different than Vince Vaughn and then Clint, and you got some of the other guys, right? Josh, I would put him there as well, probably. Is it Pratt? Is it Chris?
Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt, right? Who played?
They're trying.
They're trying to get him too. Yeah,
They're trying to get him
to get rid of Chris Pratt because he's religious.
Zach Levi, even Zach Levi.
Who's they though?
There's a big portion of Hollywood or the left which does not approve of the church that Chris Pratt goes to, and so there is constantly attempts to say like, you should not have, until this guy apologizes for his church or makes his church better, you should not hire this guy.
And are these the same people that are trying to cancel if you were part of the Friends of Abe? Are they the same people that are trying to cancel Pratt? Are they the same people
by the way,
canceling Vince Vaughn? Who are these people?
It could be 2 people on Twitter. I don't know who it is, but there is a general sentiment that if your church was ever not super fond of gay people, your church is excommunicated and you can't be a part of it. So I know like Elliot Page has come out and talked poorly about Chris Pratt and his church, which then leads to voices on Twitter, anonymous voices
Domino
on
effects.
Twitter. Yeah, and it builds that way. I don't know who all of the people are, but they're the culture of Hollywood is very
Get in line or get out.
yeah,
Let me tell you
not tolerant of religious positions, not
But
tolerant
isn't
of
there
other ideas.
irony there that their whole thing is inclusion, tolerance?
But I think-
if you don't fit in, fall in line, you out.
I think any of that, though, even on the right, if the idea is like absolute free speech, then what was the satanic panic of the 80s and 90s? That was all a right-wing fear of like, you can't talk about this stuff, right? Like, let's arrest 2 Live Crew. Their language is bad. I think no matter what, the group in power wants to stay in power, and they want a homogenous dialogue so that there's no dissent. There's no taking that power away from them.
Yeah, don't forget, we're not against rap. We're not against rappers, but we are against those thugs, right? So they wanted to kind of, the hip hop, all of that. So, but here's what you said. You said Harvey Weinstein, and you said Will Smith. The difference with Will Smith, it's a self-inflicted. He screwed up. Hollywood's not canceling him. He canceled himself. That's what he did. That's
Will
a big
Smith?
screw. Which we can talk about that. But Will Smith is a screw up, which is a lot deeper than anything else. But
By the way, my preference would be you do something that people are offended by. You have a very clear path to redemption. There should be some way to make amends. You come out and apologize. I don't know what it is, but there should be a way to go like, without being self-serving, I screwed up. I'm really sorry. That's not me. Because Will Smith to me is like, he was this. I still think he's a sweetheart, and he had a bad night.
1,000,000%.
He had a bad night.
But think about what we're saying here right now. We're actually putting Harvey freaking Weinstein and Will Smith even in the same category.
I don't think
I'm not saying that. I'm just
doing
saying the fact that those two names are intertwined because Will Smith slapped Chris Rock.
I don't think they're in the same category.
No, they're not.
Yeah.
That's my point.
Yeah.
But the fact that Harvey Weinstein, what he did was disgusting and repugnant. And what Will Smith, okay,
Can
fucking slapped the dude.
Can I make a prediction? I'm going to make
sir.
a prediction to you. Okay. So what I think is happening is the following. So Will is a different story. Harvey is complete. He uses power to abuse and all that stuff, and then eventually it was too late. Vince is, we don't agree with you. He is actually being affected by it because this guy goes from being one that you saw him everywhere to, and by the way, that guy's multidimensional. He did like this one Psycho movie that, maybe it was Psycho. I don't know what movie he was in where he's playing this freaking crazy husband that's capable of doing murder and all these things. Then he goes and does Wedding Crashers. So he's so multi-talented.
If you enjoyed this short clip, click over here to watch another short clip. And if you want to watch the entire episode, the entire podcast, click here.